Good day, good people. Relevant Thoughts blog is back. I'm your guy, Lewis to the T. And we're back for another Relevant Thoughts blog. I am just been excited about these. I hope you're as excited as I am. And if you're not, we're going to get you there. So today's Relevant Thoughts blog is who asked you? It is such a simple question. But we make it so sarcastic and so mean sometimes. And it's kind of a way of checking people, like who asked you, is really the topic of the day. And I'm doing this topic from my vantage point, but I know that most people can relate to it. Who asked you applies a lot when you're younger. Who asked you applies a lot when you're perceived to be out of your depth of a subject matter because people are not aware of your mindset, your skill, your thought process, or your experience, really. And so who asked you, especially if you are a black man or woman, could set off a firestorm of a conversation or a debate or most likely an argument. So I want to talk about it as it pertains to me and it pertains to relevant thoughts. Why do I get to voice my opinion? Why am I here? Why am I flooding your timeline with these thoughts? And it's really based on the name of, the series itself, Relevant Thoughts. Relevant Thoughts blog I created because I really do think that people's thoughts are relevant to inspire people to express themselves, to talk about, things from their vantage point. You don't always have to be an expert in something to share your thoughts, to share your opinions. We all have opinions. They're all valid. They're not all steeped in a universal truth or even factual all the time. It's just our lived experience is what we feel like we can share with people to help them or to change them or simply to express ourselves. It's not always about something as ideological as change. We're going to change everything. We're going to make everything better. Sometimes it's the way of just expressing yourself and who you are and what you think, which I think helps us grow. It helps to have an exchange. Sometimes you share just because you want to share, but most of the times you share because you want an interaction, you want a dialogue, you want to have a discussion. And so, who asked you? Well, maybe you weren't asked. Maybe you were prompted. Maybe the environment asked you. Maybe the time asked you. We have a lot of opinions about a lot of things just based on media coverage. Based on what our friends and family are going through, based on our lived experience as a reaction to the things that a lot of other people are going through or experiencing. So, who asked you can be a great question to initiate great dialogue, even if it's meant to be a slight, even if it's meant to be antagonistic. I think it's a great question always, and it should prompt you to tell people, why you have the ability or the right to present your thought or your opinion in the way that you do. I hope that makes sense. Like, this isn't a very long, Relevant Thoughts blog today, but I think it's a very important one. I hope that it encourages somebody that no matter what their age is, because oftentimes we will talk down to people who are younger than us. Like, who asked you about this subject when you're only X amount of years old? Well, age and experience are two very different things. You can live to be 50 and 60 years old and not experience some of the things that a 20 or 30-year-old have experienced. I learned that living in Chicago, mentoring teenagers. They had seen things and gone through things and experienced life in a way that I could never imagine. Some things I've still yet to experience, some things I experienced in my 40s. When they were experiencing it in their teens. And so they could have had something to offer me in regard to how they saw the world from that vantage point. So age is not always a catalyst for wisdom or even intelligence. We have to be more open to listening to young people, assuming people's experience. I think we can look at people. We try not to judge a book by its cover. It seems cliche to judge a book by its cover, but we do it every day. We look at people when we think to ourselves, who asked you? And it's more of a matter of an assumption of what they may or may not have to offer the conversation. So we have to be careful in that vein as well. I hope this really does trigger people in a good way to think about, why they asked a question, and to think about their response when they are prompted or asked a question. So who asked you? Well, I'm asking you, and hopefully you'll engage me along this thought process and what you think about that, what you have to offer the world, what other people have to offer in regard to their opinions, in regard to their thought process. So let me know your thoughts.